World War II traumatized Europe and created a bunch of new countries. In January of 1933, the Nazi Party took control of Germany with Hitler as chancellor. Hitler's propaganda game was strong. He wanted to spread Nazi ideas to all of Germany. The Germans believed that they were racially superior, and not only that, but that anyone who didn't look like the average German was not only inferior but a threat. Concentration camps started in order to detain Nazi Party political opponents and then people who did not fit the stereotypical German physique or the stereotypical German state of mind, like Jews, Roma, people with disabilities, Slavic peoples, communists, socialists, Jehovah's Witnesses, homosexuals, and people born mixed race were relocated to these locations. Hitler then put Heinrich Himmler in charge of administration and organization of the camps. They set up these camps in order to force labor and execute people out of the public's eye. The SS started to force labor upon them to work on SS construction or projects. Then the placement of camps began to get more strategic in order to maximize the prisoners' workload, like placing a camp near a quarry. The prisoners were used recklessly, resulting in a high mortality rate. In 1938, Germany gained many political opponents and social deviants, so they then needed to make more camps. More than 42,000 camps were established between 1933 and 1945. In 1944, eastern Belarus got attacked and the major Nazi concentration camp there, Majdanek, got taken over.
After this, Himmler forced all the remaining prisoners and prisoners of surrounding areas to do a death march. This was done so that prisoners couldn't tell their stories to the people who freed them, and because some SS leaders believed that the prisoners could be traded for more land west so they could continue the Nazi regime. The death marches were brutal. If the prisoners could no longer walk, they'd be killed. Many major concentration camps were required to perform this procedure, like Auschwitz and Stutthof. As the conditions got harsh between 1944 and 1945, many more prisoners were killed, and the prisoners then assumed that the end goal for the Germans was their death rather than their relocation, hence the name death marches. For the Germans, this was, however, their major goal, not necessarily via the death marches, but for annihilation of these people. This was the final solution to their problem. Allied forces stepped in and moved across Germany, liberating prisoners. May 7, 1945 is when all of this ended and the Germans surrendered to the Allied forces. May 9, 1945 is the proclaimed day the war ended. September 2, 1945 is when Japan surrendered and World War II is officially over. Out of the survivors, many were unable to emigrate, leading to them having to move into Displaced Person or DP camps created by the Allied powers. The last Displaced Persons camp closed in 1957, and many Nazi war criminals were, and still are, being put on trial for their crimes.